This is a Pele Media podcast.
Welcome back to Goonies Minute, everybody. Goonies Minute is the fan podcast where we carefully explore the movie Goonies minute by minute. This is Brady.
And this is Chris.
And guys, we kind of teased it yesterday, but we can officially say that coming next week, that's going to be on Monday the 27th through Friday the 31st? No, 30th. 31st.
Let's see,
Friday
what month is it?
31st.
What month is it?
It is March.
That's
It is
31.
31. We're going to be having some special guests on. That is Brad Mendenhall and Amy Kennerup. Now, anybody who listens to the show regularly will probably remember that a few episodes ago we actually had a song written by some musicians that we played at the very end of the show. Well, that was the two of them, and Brad and Amy have actually performed songs for our other shows, Jurassic Park Minute and Ghostbusters Minute. They're not strangers to the world of podcasting themselves. In fact, Brad runs a podcasting network called the Cosmic Geppetto Podcast. A lot of cool stuff on there. And we really can't wait to have them on. So that's going to be this coming Monday through Friday. And with that said, Chris, you want to get into the minute?
Let's get into the minute.
All right. In the previous minute, Chunk and Sloth made their way down the tunnel under the fireplace. Meanwhile, the Goonies were taking a much-needed break in a new cave. Mikey announced that it was bathroom break time. At minute 73, Mikey points to two rooms, the boys' bathroom and the girls' bathroom. Brand announces that he's going to the men's room. We cut to Sloth and Chunk making their way under all of the water pipes, which are banging up and down. We can hear the havoc overhead, and Chunk says that Mikey's definitely been here. Meanwhile, Andy tells Steph that she has an idea. She calls out for Brand. Brand tells Mikey to go see what she wants. And thus ends minute 73 of the Goonies. So this minute starts off with Mikey calling the shots and saying, okay, bathroom break, who's got to go? And everyone raises their hands and says, me. And then he points to two different directions and says, okay, little boy's room and little girl's room, and everybody files right into those. Now, of course, there's the joke later about how Brand and Mouth are going to the men's room. But I think it's neat that everybody they jump to the captain's orders. You know, everybody is now officially on board with this Goonies thing. They know Mikey is the guy with all the answers and solutions. And they just straight up say, yes, sir, we're going to...
Mikey's the leader. He's younger than Brand. And again, I think I try to put myself in Brand's position, although I would like to think that I wouldn't be in Brand's position. Mm-hmm. Whenever you're replaced as a leader, kind of like Robert Shapiro by Johnny Cochran, if you watch The People vs. O.J. Simpson,
yeah.
There's different ways to take it. Of course, if you talk to Robert Shapiro, he'll say that it didn't exactly go that way. But, you know, Shapiro's the one that got everybody together and originally hired Johnny Cochran, but they realized that Cochran was the one that was best to lead the team.
Right.
Well, this is a situation where you would think Brand would be the leader. He's the oldest person. He's said multiple times, I'm going to be the one that leads. But Mikey leads by example. Exactly. And everybody follows Mikey. Exactly. I don't know if those are those correlated at all, but
well, you're an only child.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be replaced as a leader, but when it's so obvious that this is a leader, I look at it like a sports team. You can have someone that's a junior in college, and they used to be the star of the team, and they've led that team for 3 years. But then you have a freshman that come in, let's say playing basketball, that is just head over heels better than everybody else, head and shoulders but better than everybody else. That person demands the respect, and that person all of a sudden becomes the leader. That can be tough for somebody else to handle that. And, you know, Brand he's not that fighter, though, to stay and say, hey, that I'm the leader.
Right.
He tried to do that. It didn't work. Mikey's now the leader. And he is the leader of where we're going to go pee. That's what I had.
The most important thing.
And real quick, and one thing I was saying that, you know, in the past, Mikey has had a couple things to where, you know, he said he had to go pee at the lighthouse. Did he really have to go pee? He saw a light ahead at by the country club.
This might be another ploy.
Is this one of those things? But then again, I don't know if it is. I think it actually isn't. Now that we're looking more into it and seeing that, okay, we're divvying up. Because if it was just him going pee, then he wouldn't care where everybody's peeing.
Right.
So is this a ploy to get Andy, I don't think it is yet.
I don't think it is, yeah. But it's interesting because as we have said, the fact that Bran is, doesn't have the ability to lead and call the shots makes it so much more interesting. Whereas if the older brother was the guy doing everything, it'd be predictable. You'd know where it's going to go. Now, I come from a family of like too many brothers to count. And you could definitely say that if there was one of us that kind of sets the overall example on how to, just behave as grown men or younger men growing up, it would be our youngest brother, hands down. And there's really no reason for that, just the way that it kind of works. And I think this is kind of a similar situation. Mikey just happens to be the guy who has that sense of leadership, and he's going to be the one not only to lead his older brother, but an entire group of kids. There's another cool little example of paying close attention to continuity, and that is the fact that when Stephanie, who's holding the candle, the lantern goes into one side, and then the other guys go into the other side with the lantern, you actually see the lighting follows where those lanterns would go, and it drops out of the room that they're presently in. So the movie does a really good job of paying attention to where those lanterns go and making sure that's where the light source of the scene is going to be, which is something I probably would have forgotten, So it's just a cool little observation. But yeah, then we cut to Sloth and Chunk down underground and seeing all the havoc with the pipes. Water pipes.
This is just mass hysteria, pipes moving, and I think one of the things that the most important part of this scene to me, other than Sloth going, I mean, he's like going crazy, but he's got one hand back on Chunk, and he's got one hand forward, and it's like he's looking out for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's really taken the lead as a parental type figure, as a leader to protect Chunk.
Yeah.
Chunk has, saved him. Chunk has set him free.
Yeah.
And he wants to repay that to Chunk by being somebody that can protect him.
And
that's what it looks like to me.
Right. The reward for Sloth at the very end is that he's brought into Chunk's family as a brother. As a new Chunk's like, you're going to come live with me now. You're going to be a brother. That's everything that Sloth has always lost in his life.
Because his brother, his brothers are not exactly the role models.
Yeah, exactly. So that's interesting. There's that's kind of a heavy subplot throughout the movie, is this sense of brotherhood, and then a lack of brotherhood, weak brotherhood, strong brotherhood that you see in different places. And apparently it's the theme of today's show. But you're absolutely right when you say that Sloth is, maybe this is what he's always wanted or something. It's just to be in a position where he can lead himself.
Now, getting further with the scene with the pipes, we go into a little exaggeration when Sloth grabs the pipes, pushes them up, and then it's almost like there's a condensed over-exaggeration happening. We hear screech of tires, a collision, a woman screaming, and sirens, all in a span of about 4 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like, it's not almost like, it is like they wanted us to know that this caused the wreck, but we didn't want to take enough time to show it, take enough time to wait for those things to happen. It's just one of those things that's kind of fast forwarded, so we know what happened.
You're right. I think that's part of the joke, is the fact that we don't see it.
Right.
And man, they must be close to the surface if they can hear that woman scream that clearly.
And I think they wouldn't probably,
right.
But
that's
it was they just want us to know what happened, and that's the best way they could do it, and it's not important to get it perfectly accurate.
Now, is that another one of those jokes that we think is maybe a little too slapstick? Like the sound effect of Data's Pinchers of Peril?
I don't know. I mean, a little bit, but it's par for the course. It's not as crazy. No, it's not as crazy as Pinchers of Peril.
Yeah.
It's definitely not, and it's not as crazy as the Gesundheit.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not believable. But it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's this movie that's we've gotten used to it to this point, so we can accept it a little bit more.
Yeah.
After we hear the sound of the accident and the woman screaming, we go back down to Steph and Andy, which you were mentioning the lighting a while ago, and you hear Steph say, this is not the time or place. And Annie's like, I know what I'm doing. She's like the damsel in distress. Brand. And they go back, and I am baffled by this. All right. Brand is interested in Andy. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't he know that she's interested in him?
Yeah.
Okay. If I am urinating and this girl that I'm interested in is calling for me, then what am I going to do? I am going to finish urinating, and I am going to get over there as fast as I can.
Yeah.
Okay? So what does this idiot do? He tells someone else to go see what she wants. Now, that's pathetic.
Yeah.
But it is par for the course when it comes to this guy's behavior, as being passive, as being clueless. I mean, what?
Yeah.
It's
like something you've always waited for, is to be in a situation where someone that you really like is in trouble, and you have to be the gallant hero that she's clearly like calling for. And what are you going to do?
Again, it's going to be somebody else.
Yeah,
you can finish peeing.
You can finish peeing, but you better not.
Should yell, hold on, I'll be right there, honey. But anyway, that's the end of the minute, and that's all I have for this minute.
Me too. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today, and we will see you again tomorrow for minute number 74. But again, I want to remind everybody that next week, Monday through Friday, we're going to have Brad Mendenhall and Amy Kennerup on, and they are going to be giving us their thoughts on this movie. So until then, this is Brady.
And this is Chris.
And we'll see you tomorrow for, what's our ending? Oh, yeah, and until then, Goonies.
Never say die.
I'll get it one day. Goonies Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the show, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can find us at GooniesMinute.com, Facebook.com/GooniesMinute, Twitter.com/GooniesMinute, and at Instagram @GooniesMinute. You can contact us at GooniesMinute@gmail.com. You've been listening to a Pele Media podcast. For premium content and exclusive podcasts, visit us at Patreon.com/Pele Media. Check us out on Facebook at Facebook.com/Pele Media, and follow us on Twitter at Twitter.com/Pele Media.